Okay, so good morning and a very warm welcome to the Indo-Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Industry webinar on India-Sri Lanka Information Technology Ecosystem, the road ahead. My name is Naresh Bana and I am the Vice Chairperson of this chamber. It's a great honor for me to moderate this webinar along with my colleague Dr. Sarath Obesekara, who is the Vice President and takes care of all the chamber operations in Sri Lanka. The duration of the webinar is 60 minutes. It's being recorded and is scheduled to finish by 12 p.m. Indian and Sri Lankan time. We will make the recording available on the Indo-Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Industry YouTube channel subsequently. The raising of hands, question asking, and chat function is activated for the webinar. Please use as per functionality of the each provision. Questions from webinar participants are very welcome. We'll try to respond during the webinar, and also if not possible during the webinar, we'll send the replies in writing later. The sequence of events have been communicated to you. You may have received the playbook. In addition, we will present each speaker ahead of the respective thematic presentation. After presentation, there will be time for live question and answers with the webinar panelists. Please use question mark sign on your screen for sending your questions. Our first speaker is our co-chairperson, Lieutenant General Rakesh Kumar Lumba, PVSM, AVSM. He is one of the senior most generals of Army who has tenanted many important appointments prior to actively engaging with the chamber activities. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Naresh. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lieutenant General Rakesh Lumba. As one of the founding members of the Indo-Sri Lankan Chambers of Commerce and Industry, it is indeed my proud privilege today to welcome all of you to the second webinar of our chambers. May I, at the start, welcome our esteemed speakers and guests, namely Mrs. Chitranjali Dissanayake. She is the Director General, Export Development Board of Sri Lanka. Mr. Jehan Piran Penegam, Finance Director, Sri Lanka Association for Software Services Companies. He is also the advisory member of the Sri Lanka Development Board. Colonel Rakesh Juneja, Senior Vice President at Elcom Innovations Private Limited. And Mrs. Nandini Singh, who is the head government business at Microsoft. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the participants today, and we are extremely grateful to you for having taken out so much of your valuable time to attend this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, we are today conducting the second in a series of webinars. We'll be intimating to you as we go along. Every month we intend holding one webinar. And today, of course, the topic is the Indo-Sri Lanka Chambers of Commerce and Industries. Topic that we'll dilate on today is India-Sri Lanka Information Technology Ecosystem, the road ahead. This assumes importance today as the IT sector has been one of the few success stories during this prevailing COVID-19 pandemic. It is therefore of paramount importance that we assimilate the prevalent ecosystem both in India and in Sri Lanka as regards information technology is concerned, so that both the entrepreneurs and through them our nations stand to gain. Without any further ado, I will hand over to our Vice Chairman to conduct further proceedings. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. And we have the update that one of the panelists, our co-chairperson, Engineer Nasir Ahmed, is not able to join. So I will straight away move to our keynote speaker, Honorable Madam Chitranjali Dasanaike. And Madam, are you able to speak? Can we hear you? So, no, we are still not able to hear you. Okay. So, how do we, maybe you can connect on your phone and we get you subsequently. We move to the next speaker then. And the next speaker, in the meantime, I would take on Mr. Rakesh Joneja, who's Senior Vice President at Elcom Innovations Private Limited. Dr. Sarath, can I request you to introduce the panelist? You have to unmute yourself, Dr. Sarath. On the right side, on the panel, you have. Okay. There's some more problem with this. So let me introduce Mr. Rakesh Juneja. He is the Senior Vice President and heading the offsets business at Elcom Innovations. Elcom is the flagship company of Sun Group, leading its initiatives in aerospace and defense communications and robotics to support offsets and global supply needs of global market. Over to you, Mr. Juneja.
Thanks. Can you allow me to share the presentation?
Yeah. Yes, you can go ahead. Your screen is visible now.
Thank you, Chair. Panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rakesh from Elcom. Elcom is a pioneer company which we set up in 2012 as a very nascent entry into the aerospace and defense sector of Sun Group. And in the last about 8 years, we've traveled quite a bit and we've covered quite a mileage. And today in the industry, Elcom is a known entity in our segment of sector like aerospace and defense and the paramilitary forces. We have our own IPRs, we have our own products. I'll keep talking about the products. I thought I'll start this presentation with a few success stories where Sri Lanka could benefit. Now, the model one, what we propose could be something similar to what we've achieved. And this has been a great success. It's a TOT model, transfer of technology. One of the pioneers of European defense industry from Norway approached us for manufacturing of a product. They got a product, we had one, we showed our product, they liked it, and they held our hands and brought it to a level where it started meeting NATO standards. In the path, we learned how to meet NATO standards, both in terms of technology and in terms of documentation. Today, we are exporting it for the last 6-7 years to Norway as a white labeled product, which they're selling it as a European product across the globe. Now, this is something which we thought Sri Lanka could also benefit. I've listed out a few phases. This could be, the presentation could be shared later. I mean, we could start from marketing and servicing a Sri Lankan company, and then start from CKD, SKD, and then start the Sri Lankan company could start manufacturing and exporting to the globe. We'll talk about the products just a minutes from now. Second model, what again we talk of is, again, this could also benefit Sri Lanka. This is again a success story, what I am repeating. Israeli company Ecopia, they are pioneers in their field for manufacturing of robots for cleaning solar panels. Now, the World Bank stopped funding companies which were cleaning solar panels with water because of scarcity of water worldwide. Now, this company came out with an innovative idea, and world over, they started installing these robots for cleaning the solar panels. Initially, they had a manufacturing facility in Israel. They shut it down and brought it to Bangalore. Bangalore, again, they're finding it difficult because of the cost overruns and all. They approached us. And we have cut down the costs drastically. We've created a fresh supply chain for them, and very competitive costs. And we are the only, Elcom is the only partner for Ecopia today for supplying robots for the solar panel cleaning world over. Now, this is something, again, Sri Lanka can, the industry in Sri Lanka can think of, and we can support them how to take it forward. Next in line is a product. It's an airborne radio for a Russian company, Prima. Prima, again, manufactures airborne radios for all the Ka and Me platforms. The Ka 226 aircraft, helicopter, the twin rotor helicopter, which are supposed to be manufactured in India from transfer of technology from Sri Lanka, will have the airborne radios from Elcom. It's not only for the Indian market, they're going it globally. So possibly our radios manufactured in India could get onto the platforms what they're supplying in Russia as well. So this again is a very interesting success story which we can share later. Some products which the panel, which the industry could be interested in, even the Sri Lankan government people on the panel could be interested in. We have the next generation combat net radio gateway. In our days, when a VHF could not talk to a UHF, or a VHF radio could not talk to the satellite, things were difficult. So we created a product based on the operations which are held in Mumbai, the Mumbai terrorist attack, wherein a lot of police and various other forces had come, but they could not communicate with each other because of the frequency protocols. So we created a platform, and it is successfully operational, not only in India, world over. We've been supplying. We've been competing, incidentally, we've been competing with companies like Raytheon, and a lot of products in India where Raytheon were the masters, we've taken over from them, both on cost as well as technology overruns. On the right top, you see a ruggedized phone. We've been selling this globally now. 15,000 of these, the older version of this, 15,000 of these are being used by the Indian Army. Now the IPR is ours, the technology, the design, development, manufacturing, everything is ours. So this is where again we could support Sri Lanka on. Another set of products, you have the tank intercom system, the vehicle intercom system. These could be integrated as a ship intercom system and a submarine intercom system. So what we are talking of, we've already executed these. Our intercom systems are functional in the submarines in India. Our intercom systems are also getting into the tanks, which are being the tanks which are going to be manufactured in the subsequent years to come. We are supply partners to one of the major Indian OEM who's going to supply in India as well as globally. The IP tactical exchange, what you see here, again, has been manufactured, designed, developed by us and is functional. This is commonly known as the ULSB in the Indian Army, and 2,500 of these we've supplied to the Indian Army, and these are functional at unit level. This is again which Sri Lankan Army, and you could think of supplying globally also. We can support you. The multiplexers again, we've supplied to the IB here and the mini mobile communication pack, what you see, was successfully trial tested in Russia. All their disaster management forces like the product. We sold this to the Indian disaster forces also. They're using it extensively. The two phones where you see below, we supplied these to the Israeli defense forces. I mean, this again is a challenge to supply to Israel. What the technology pattern of the world. We also have set up a maintenance repair overall facility for the hail and mail UAVs. The hail are the high altitude long endurance, and the mail are the medium altitude long endurance UAVs, which have been supplied by Israel to India. Now all these UAVs used to go to Israel for maintenance repair overall upgrades and all. We've set up a MRO here in India, wherein all these are going to be maintained, repaired overall, and upgraded here in India, thereby saving a lot of cost to the Indian government. We also set up. We are also setting up simulators for training of these UAVs. Now, a product which has been developed, one of our technology partners, T-Box, which are based out of Bangalore, is a very interesting product. Today, the scenario is that whatever you talk on the phone, everyone can listen. You see the device firmware, operating system, the OEM layer, and the app layer. Now, these are what reside there. Everything, whatever you speak today, can be traced out, can be monitored. So what we developed today is a Indian operating system which resides over the kernel and above layers, wherein we've enhanced the security. And the product was given to the Indian Army for trial evaluation. They've tested it and they've approved of the product. And very soon you'll be finding this product getting inducted into the Indian Army. Gradually, but they've liked the product. We've gone through excessive trials, intensive trials and all, been successful. And we can talk about the product offline if the Sri Lankan industry is interested in. It gives end-to-end security. It's made in India. Hardened operating system it has. It has its own maps. It has got its own geofencing. It can do geofencing, like cameras can be switched on. You can remotely wipe off all the phone details if it gets compromised. You can enable or disable facilities like mails, cameras, and other things to people who are not required to have it. You can have your own network. The server can reside with you in your office. All details, all data resides with you. So this is something which is the new technology which everyone will have to think of buying sooner or later. The earlier we get into it, the better it is. So we've been pushing it quite hard as an indigenously developed product, and we've achieved success with the Indian Defense Forces, and very soon this is going to get inducted. We are also preferred solution partners with Cisco and application partners with Alcatel-Lucent. We have all the certifications and recognition for industry to manufacture defense equipment as well as export. We have IPRs, like you can see, ruggedized phones, tank intercom system. Now this is where I feel that the Sri Lankan industry can benefit quite a bit from us. We can talk offline. I can be communicated through the panel or directly also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rakesh. And Dr. Sarath, are you able to speak? Are you able to unmute? Okay. Let me introduce you the next panelist. He is Mr. Jehan Perinpanayagam. He is the CEO of Informate Private Limited, a leading BPM in Sri Lanka. A visionary leader with 23 years of experience in outsourcing and offshoring industry, he serves as Finance Director of Sri Lanka Association for Software Services Companies, SLASCOM, an advisory member on ICT/BPM sector of Sri Lanka Export Development Board. Over to you, Mr. Jehan. I'm just making you the presenter. Okay, there you are. Jehan, you are able to?
Yes, I'm just waiting for, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Is my slideshow visible?
You have to share your screen. Not yet.
I haven't got the link as yet.
You have joined with 2 devices?
No, just one device.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. I just got it. Excellent.
Yes, we can see your slide as well as hear you adequately. Go ahead.
Excellent. So I'm proud today on behalf of SLASCOM to introduce Sri Lanka's world-class IT BPM landscape. A few months ago, a delegation of India's CEO Forum met with our Prime Minister to discuss areas to collaborate on business. And one of the key conclusions was the opportunity for Indian BPM companies and companies in general to seek out large-scale BPO investments in Sri Lanka and to partner with Sri Lankan BPM companies. So this is a great opportunity and is the main thrust of my presentation today. So the Indian CEO Forum identified the BPO space from Sri Lanka as a key driver. Sri Lanka's IT BPM industry has consistently been ranked highly by global bodies. For instance, the Global Services Association awarded Sri Lanka first place as delivery destination of the year 2019. A.T. Kearney ranked Sri Lanka first in terms of financial attractiveness and many other accolades. And Sri Lanka's industry serves some of the biggest brand names in the world. So these include PayPal, eBay, Cisco, Pepsi, Reuters, Boeing, Citibank, and several of these have set up delivery centers in Sri Lanka. So those include HCL, HSBC, London Stock Exchange, Wiley's, IFS, Pearson's. So they have taken advantage of the fantastic BPM talent available in Sri Lanka. Like in India, we have a robust education system. 200,000 students qualify for advanced levels and 65,000 enter universities annually. We produce 9,000 graduates, IT graduates annually, and accountants, thousands of them. We have over 100,000 accounting students. So something I often say, Sri Lanka is a beautiful country, but boring people. Too many accountants. So those include myself and the chairman of SLASCOM. Our workforce today in the IT BPM industry encompasses close to 100,000 currently employed in the ICT workforce and another 25,000 in the BPM industry. The attrition rates are very attractive. You can see at the bottom of our screen, attrition rates in the IT industry just 12%, BPM sector slightly higher, 19%. So very attractive when you compare the global stats on attrition. Some of the highlights of the BPM industry include availability of cost-effective and highly skilled labor. It's ideally suited as a niche destination for highly skilled talent. A center of excellence for accounting, and we are currently serving US, Europe, and Australia. We have operations that work 24/7. Attrition rates are lower. Excellent information security. And there is a constant focus on value add, process improvements, and innovation. So the industry is actively working on incorporating technologies such as RPA, machine learning, AI into our BPM delivery. So I think this is something that is unique. And natural disasters, we have a very good track record in terms of personal safety and 100% uptime. So during this whole pandemic period, our industry has really distinguished itself in terms of being able to maintain uninterrupted services. So this presents a great opportunity for Indian companies to have an India +1 strategy to partner with Sri Lankan companies to provide risk mitigation to their clients. So you can have a delivery center in India and a smaller one in Sri Lanka. So then you have a multi-country spread and great risk mitigation. Higher levels of individual attention because we are a smaller player and Sri Lankans are naturally a very friendly, a very obliging set of people. You will find a lot of individual attention and senior management involvement in our delivery. Specific to BPM, you'll see some very big global brand names. Innodata, HSBC has 3,000 people, Accenture, WNS, RR Donnelley. All of them have chosen Sri Lanka to locate back office delivery centers. And these have been very successfully run. Just hear Anne Neidenbach of her experience in working with Sri Lanka.
When the LSE went live on the Millennium platform, we were one of the fastest trading systems on the planet. So, I mean, it's really a tribute to the talent that's down in Sri Lanka. I can't say this enough. We certainly have enjoyed the culture down there, think extremely highly of the talent down there, and really sort of embraced being Sri Lanka.
So powerful comments from Anne, and you also see similar comments from Chris Till, Global Head of Customer Services, HSBC. One of the sites where I see the most innovation and one of the most proactive, working with the Sri Lankan team in Colombo. They are one of the most receptive teams anywhere in the world. And we will see a broad range of skills and capabilities in our BPM that includes customer service, data analysis, document management, accounting, legal, human resources outsourcing, so a wide range of services. We have a strong telco infrastructure, one of the first in the region to implement 4G and 5G technology, 7 telco operators, 5 submarine cables providing redundancy, and access to cost-effective data. In terms of our healthcare and education, we are ranked very favorably. So you can see healthcare, we are ranked 43rd. In terms of education, 66th. This is research by PwC. And in terms of IT parks, we have Orion City, Port City, and Trade City. In fact, I was speaking to Orion City, where we have an operation for Informate, my company, and they were saying they have got several inquiries, interestingly, in the last few months from companies in India looking to set up delivery centers in their IT park. So you have grade A office space specifically for the IT BPM industry. We have a supportive government that is very encouraging and supportive to this industry. Our industry has been made tax-free. Repatriation of dividend to non-resident shareholders are free of taxes. Exempt from VAT. As a service provider, company will be eligible for SWAT programs and several other benefits provided by the government. So SLASCOM is actively working with different branches of government to represent the industry, and we have found a great deal of support and encouragement from the government. So this is something that Indian companies can take advantage of either directly or in partnership with Sri Lankan IT BPM companies. So these are some of the government bodies. You will see ICT agency, which is the Apex ICT institution. You have the Board of Investment, which is a one-stop shop for any investment coming into Sri Lanka, and of course Export Development Board, who works closely with SLASCOM in promoting Sri Lanka's IT BPM industry around the world. And then of course you have ourselves, SLASCOM Sri Lanka Association of Software and Services Companies. So the board consists of volunteers. We have a full-time corporate office as well. So a lot of initiatives to enhance capacity, to develop quality standards, to promote the industry, promote the adoption of key technologies. So you could definitely reach out to us. This presentation will be shared, and we'll be very happy to provide you with any information or guidance. And of course, you have the government bodies that you can connect with. So I'd like to leave you finally with the Island of Ingenuity presentation. Just takes 1 minute and 30 seconds, which gives you a snapshot and a summary of some of the key highlights of our industry. Thank you very much. It's been my privilege to introduce Sri Lanka's IT BPM. So please remember the Island of Ingenuity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jehan. Thank you very much for your elaborate presentation. And Dr. Sarath, are you able to connect? We still can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. Your system again is showing green, but we are not able to hear you. Madam Chitranjali, are you with us? Are you with us, madam? Okay. Okay. So we move on to the next panelist. and that is someone very well known in the government sector from the Microsoft side, Ms. Nandini Singh. And let me introduce Nandini. She's an accomplished business leader who has been in various big corporates and currently heads the public sector strategic sales in Microsoft. She has more than 25 years of experience of working with governments and leading digital transformation in government, defense, healthcare, utilities, and education, and has worked in companies like TCS, Wipro, Oracle, Autodesk, and SAS, supporting government clients. Over to you, Nandini. All the best.
Thank you, Naresh. Are you going to make me a presenter?
Yeah. There you are. You have the control.
So can you see my presentations, all of you?
Yes, we can see it and we can hear you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Naresh, for this opportunity to be in this august company of Sri Lankan panel, Sri Lankan officials and SLASCOM and everybody else. So I'll be taking you through. I won't be selling Microsoft here. I've come. I was told by Naresh specifically, it has to be a little bit of IT ecosystem. What are we experiencing? Global trends. So I will be talking about what is global trend specifically in government. Since I've always worked in government, it won't be the industry, it will be IT in government. So I hope it makes a little bit of, it'll help you out in seeing how we are doing it in India and what is happening globally. So you'd be very pleasantly surprised when I finish off my presentation, you'll be pleasantly surprised that I think Sri Lanka and India, I worked in Sri Lanka for 3-4 years from my previous company. So I know how the industry is and how abreast of the latest trends they are. So you'll be very pleasantly surprised that we are there. We are almost there. And in fact, we have jump started. So 2021 when we enter, of course COVID jump started the IT and the digitalization of whole industry, but we were there before even COVID struck. Only thing is that probably 2 to 3 years COVID jump started our IT journey. And here I'll go through all the trends. Somebody has to switch off the speaker. Okay, so here I'll take you through. Hello? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So when we talk about, I will be talking about this fourth industrial revolution. So of course we know 18th century, it was steam engine, the mechanization happened. 19th century, electricity, gas, oil, mass production stuff happened in 19th century. 20th century was of electronics, telecommunication, computers. And then now we come here in 21st century, the internet, IoT, machine learning, analytics, cloud, 21st. So 21st century is now called Industry 4.0, which encompasses computerization and beyond. So when I'll come to key trends in government, we will talk about 9 majorly. I've picked up 9 majorly trends which are happening. Citizen is a digital citizen for us. Artificial intelligence augmentation is happening with us in almost every sector: health, finance, transportation, law enforcement, defense, citizen services, everywhere. Then you'll talk about data and AI. When we talk of AI and data, we talk of ethics. That has to be taken care of. Privacy issues have to be taken care of. There's a lack of transparency which has to be taken care of, and lack of governance and accountability. So when you talk of data and AI, this has to be taken care of by government, and here IT and its surrounding technology can help us. Then you have to have a predictive analytics. What necessarily for government it means is we have to have an anticipatory government. We no longer can be a reactive government. Citizens need before even they want, they should come up with the schemes and policies, and specifically the departments which are going to be affected by this anticipatory government, and which will probably make their importance is labor, healthcare, and citizen services. Now people are also getting conscious. It's no more I have a computer and I'm done with it. The citizens are also looking at citizen experience. It's not only that IT or the IT people were looking at their experience, and the ERPs were looking at how the dashboard looks like. It is also how citizen will actually relate with government, and how they will experience the digital experience. So specifically in the departments, you can well imagine it will be immigration, tourism, taxation, citizen advisory. Then the main thing which will come, and which is of course, as I talked about, that COVID-19 has jump started all this, is the cloud will be an innovation driver. It will be a foundational setting for emerging technologies, your robotic process automation, your IoT, your big data. And what does necessarily a cloud does? What does it do for us? Nothing much. It breaking down of data silos. There are data lying about in islands of we have data, loads of data in islands and in separate. No data is talking to each other. So what does cloud will do? All the departments, when we talk of government, in terms of government, it will be joining them, it will be integrating all the department, and we can have one service given to a citizen, and the services are different, and the one department is not talking to the other department. So cloud necessarily brings on that. So it will, so when we're talking of that, it is and it will help a citizen experience, it will help government, it will help departments, and actually it will bring us to an integrated one society. Then we'll talk of innovation centers. There are, in public health, taxation, transport, a lot of innovation centers, a lot of R&D, a lot of things are happening so that we can actually make life more easier for citizen and world. Lastly, a lot of things are coming up is in behavioral sciences. We are no longer punishing. We should not. We are no longer. We're still there. I mean, the global trend is that we are not punishing for not giving tax, giving penalties being rewarded for not giving tax. So that is not should be there. It will be a nudging, a silent nudging. Behavioral difference should come in here for citizen, promising lower cost and better outcomes for government. So the common thread which we see globally is focus of government more on operations as opposed to policy issues. We are moving beyond pilots and experiments. Now there is an entire thing which is an integrated thing coming in, where we can see the value, we can see the change, and we can see the effect. Pilots do not affect our lives anymore. Pilot happens, it finishes. So we should look at it in a larger term. Thirdly is, of course, the last, it is global in scope. Developing and non-developing, or the third world countries, IT and the technology has fast diminished this discrimination, or I can say the gap has closed down in 2021. So when we talk about government outlook, it should be integrated, it should be intuitive, we should know what's going to happen, and we should be we should be dynamic, ready to transform as fast as we can. We should be able to give anything as a service. Just about whatever is there, it should be as a service. Nobody should be buying big data centers, big DRs. We should go for a cloud, pay as you use. So when I come to this slide of mine where we talk about government outlook, so I don't think so Sri Lankan government, Indian government, or USA, or for that European government looks anyway different from this what we have talked about, what I have mentioned in my previous. So this is what a government would look like. I don't want to read this out. I have already talked about it, so I'll go to the next slide. But yes, this is how the government should be looking like, as integrated one dashboard for so giving services to citizen. Now with the new normal, when I'm talking about 2021, 2020, I'm also talking about COVID. We cannot but forget COVID. COVID has actually we have reinvented ourselves. It has a it has a silver lining, and silver lining is cloud. So it's not only silver lining on a cloud, but yes, cloud is a silver lining here when we're talking about COVID. The way Indian government, I must share here, the way it came up is all because we were able to connect virtually. We were sitting at homes. Government was working. There was a lockdown. Government was working from home. Entire machinery was a standstill. But actually, if you see, we haven't gone back so much. We were connected. Things were happening. Uh, 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 just because of digitalization, and we could work on three things remotely. Enable remote government access, so that now going forward it should be going parallel. Disaster, everything should be controlled remotely, and we should be able to take care of this thing, and empower cross-agency collaboration, of course, and to deliver trusted, secure services. When we talk about cloud, we talk about reaching out to people. We should be able to talk about trusted, secure. My private data privacy should be taken care of. So when we talk about all these three things, I'll just add a little bit here that Microsoft solutions will be able to take care of this. You can see where whatever I've talked about, our cloud, our applications, and our workloads around those cloud actually will be providing you citizen-centric collaborative solutions. So when I talk about Sri Lanka 4.0, this slide, I will admit here, is a slide made for India. But you tell me, all of you there in Sri Lanka, how is it different from a Sri Lankan government? I heard Jehan sir talk about smart city, Orion city, port city. We talked about urban development. That's a part of port city. Then highways. You have highways. Social benefits. You want to give social benefits to your citizens. Health. How is it different? Power, oil and gas, railways, ship. I mean, you talk about defense, public safety, agriculture, justice, and how federal and central government should be collaborative here to work around and to give solutions to government. So economic growth, social inclusion, public safety, good governance, environment sustainability at the same time, and of course, paramount is national security. This is how you're going to be innovating and self-reliant. Gone are the days when when there was an industrial revolution, we were talking of machines. Now is the time for technology, IT, and testing times are here for us, since COVID here to stay for a longer time than we had anticipated. That's from me, and thank you, Naresh, and officials for allowing me to present my point of view here.
Okay, thank you, Nandini, for a wonderful thought-provoking presentation. And let me now check with Madam Chitranjali whether she's back with us. Madam, can you speak to us? Hello. You are now the presenter, madam. And speak. Hello. If you can. Yes, wonderful. We
Hello,
finally hear
can
you.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Actually, Ms. Chitanjali Disanayake, Director General, has attended another important meeting. So I am Manoja Disanayake, Acting Director, Export Services Division EDB. Behalf of my Director General, I would like to thank the Indo-Sri Lanka Chamber and Industry of Commerce for organizing this virtual and interactive session. So India and Sri Lanka has a long history of social, cultural, and trade relationship built over the decades, and we have seen it develop further in last few years. As a business catalyst organization, we see that Sri Lanka could gain a lot technical expertise and collaboration from Indian industry, which is massive industry at the moment. Also, as a closest country, we could gain massive advantage out of the global top tech brands who are established in India. With regard to ICT BPM industry, there are many investors from India who have invested in Sri Lanka, generating positive results for both countries. As Export Development Board, we are working with all key focus markets for ICT BPM companies to expand business linkages to promote their brand internationally. Further, we are linking the industry with international agencies to gain technical and marketing know-how. Any global or local ICT BPM company in any scale could participate in this program. In this context, we would like to invite the Indian tech companies to invest in Sri Lanka and enjoy the special benefits offered by Sri Lanka government. So, once again, I would like to thank the India-Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Sri Lanka High Commission for organizing this event. I hope all will benefit mutually from this session and that we could continue this dialogue further. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, madam. And it's very kind of you to have taken the effort to continue with Madam Chitranjali's presence and represented her and given us the insight into what Export Development Board thinks and proposes for the business initiatives. And we haven't received any questions from the audience, but just in case if someone wishes to ask a question, please raise your hand or ask a question in next few seconds. Okay, we have a hand going up. Rekha Sharma. Okay. We have Rekha Sharma. Yes. Rekha Sharma from Mars. She's asking, may I have presentation of Mr. Sarath? Okay, we'll share that. Then, is there anybody else? Right. So there are no questions. They are generally statements. So may I request General Lumba to say some concluding remarks, sir?
Thank you, Naresh. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an excellent morning session, and I'm exceedingly grateful to all the three panelists, Rakesh, Jehan, and Nandini, for an excellent expose into the IT sector. Like Nandi was saying, COVID has actually compressed the time frame. Technology-wise, what was expected to be brought in the next about 10 years will actually come in about 2 years. We have to be ahead of the loop to ensure that we all benefit, especially both our countries and our people benefit from this very rapid changes, the new normal as it is called. And this webinar is a step in that direction. Thank you all very much for your participation, and thank you all very much for having taken out your valuable time to be with us this morning. Thank you. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Okay, so with that, we conclude the webinar, and thank you, audience. Thank you, delegates. Without you, it was not possible to have such a successful session, and we will continue with our monthly webinars, and you will be soon informed of our next topic. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, General Lumba, for your remarks, and let me say bye-bye, Ayubowan, and namaste.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.